It's time for To the Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
Hello, and welcome to the Max Sports. Y'all know what time it is. Time for, Bob?
To the Max Sports and talking about crap.
Talking about lots of good crap. So this is our 2024 edition, Bob. We made it through another year.
You got to avoid being wrong about the college football championship.
Well, I'll tell you the story. So anyway, moving on to that, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but please stick around for our playoff picks. We're going to pick every wild card game. I have conceded the regular season. Bob, you were...
What do you mean you've conceded the regular season? I beat you in the regular season.
I can never say...
You lost. You lost.
But I did finish...
I'm sorry. You're not able to call up Ratzenberger and find another 11,000 votes.
But wow. But I did find, I did get one game over 500, so we always do it against the spread. Anybody can pick games. We pick them against the spread. You were like 7 or 8 games over. You had a really
something like that.
Great year. But it's slate's wiped clean. We're talking playoffs. So stick around for our picks. I guess that's where I get to the topic du jour. There's a couple, but... You know, my hat's off to the Michigan Wolverines. I guess being a lifelong Ohio State Buckeye fan, it kills me to think that they won, but it stays in the Big Ten family. So I will say that. But will Harbaugh stay in the Big Ten family?
And for all of those people out there that were squawking about how good Washington was and all that game was strength on strength. Michigan dominated the line of scrimmage on defense, put pressure on Penix, however you pronounce it, who's going to be playing in the NFL.
But he's got some issues.
He has some issues. That sidearm delivery is a little concerning in the NFL.
That's there's not many people that can pull that off. There's not a lot of Patrick Mahomeses out there. Plus, I don't like the way that he steps off his back feet on every throw. Mm-hmm. He's throwing backwards. I don't see him being a upper echelon NFL quarterback. But, at the end of the day, Michigan did what they had to do. When the line came out at 4.5, that was too rich for me. I looked at buying it down to 3, but I was risking $155 to win 100. That was too rich for me. So what I did, Bob, is I said, let me watch the first half. Well, we all know how the game first started, and I'm beating myself up about the head and shoulders saying, why didn't I just take Michigan and concede the 4.5? But as the first half progressed, things kind of changed a little bit, but the second half line was Michigan minus a half. And I said, Michigan's had some opportunities where they could have scored, where they took some risks. The physicality will take over. Michigan's defense, I really think, can step up. Washington's running back is half strength. So Penix is basically going to have to throw in every play. I didn't like that.
He was extremely uncomfortable the whole entire game. So
even though he only had like 1 or 2 sacks, so I did take Michigan minus a half in the second half.
Yeah. And they really laid it on, as it got into the fourth quarter.
It took a while.
Yeah.
It took a while.
My hat's off to Washington for their season. Michigan was the better team. And I'm going to ask you a quick question. This is going to kind of a little bit of a side journey for me. This is going to be, am I the asshole? So I have a friend.
You're not an asshole. You're a perfect asshole.
Okay. I have a friend and who spouted off about Washington. Spouted off coming out of the semifinals about how they were going to beat Michigan, and everyone was wrong. So what you normally do with a friend is you go, want to bet. So if you're talking to a friend and they're spouting off about a team and you say you want to bet, do you expect that friend to ask for points? On a friendly wager, are they allowed to ask for points after they have spouted off?
Well, it depends, because if they're getting 4.5, I would ask for the 4.5. But if he likes them that much, I would say, if your team wins, I buy you a 6-pack, but because my team's 4.5-point underdogs. If my team wins, you owe me a 12-pack.
Okay.
So I would concede I get a little bit extra.
A little bit extra. Okay.
But I think Washington joins the Big Ten family now, don't they?
Yep. In fact, there is a rematch of the College Football Championship on October. I think it's the 5th.
Man, I can't wait for.
And
next
that's
season.
in Seattle.
Next season's going to be so exciting with this move now with some great conference games, in-conference games.
It's going to be. This is not going to be your daddy's college football anymore.
No, those days are over.
Yeah.
But we will get a 12-team playoff format next year. Guys, stick around for our playoff picks. We got some exciting ones. We can give you some winners. But it will be exciting. I think next year is I'm stoked for what's going to happen. Speaking of some changes, man, the coaching carousel has started with a guy that I thought should have been gone 4 games ago. This team's got too much talent. He didn't know how to. He had running quarterbacks. He was trying to put in a pro-style offense. Goodbye, Art Smith. Goodbye, Atlanta Falcons coach.
Yeah, but they had a disappointing season.
Smith, right?
And Arthur Smith, the son of the FedEx CEO.
I call him the flycatcher, him and Harbaugh.
Though I am totally with him on the end of that Saints-Falcons game. That was absolutely inexcusable for those players to override the call from the sideline and just rush it in victory formation. They were in victory formation and did that shit.
Okay, couple things. I agree with you. If the coach told you not to do that, you shouldn't have done it.
And that's exactly what happened.
So there should be some repercussions on that. On the flip side, the coach should have never told him to do that. You know what? This isn't JV league. This is the NFL. And some of those NFL players, they're playing for bonuses, depending on how many touchdowns they score, how many yards they get. So for that crybaby Atlanta coach, I wish the Atlanta coach, Arthur Smith, had been as vociferous about his anger about running up the score. Maybe if you had tried that on some of your players, you would have had a better team, because your team was way too good to suck as bad as they did this year.
If the Saints hadn't been in victory formation, I am 100% in agreement with you. But you do not run a running play from victory formation. You do not do it. You do not do it.
And that's where, when the coach called the play, they should not have done it. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But where we may be in disagreement, there should have never been a victory formation.
I have no issue if they had run a straight running play and called in a straight running play. I have no issue with that. And I actually think Arthur Smith wouldn't have any issue with it. Because if you want to stop him, stop him.
Yeah.
But again,
but to run from a victory formation, I get it.
Okay.
True enough.
So there are some others. We have Ron Rivera,
which we talked about that 5 weeks ago.
We knew it was going to happen.
They gave up on him when they traded Sweat to Chicago and chased the 49ers.
Yeah, and I knew he was going to last the entire season, because I think the new owner of the Commanders, class guy, you don't fire a guy like Ron Rivera in the middle of the season. Yeah. So Chargers, possible destination for Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, we'll see. Obviously, Michigan's going to back up the Brinks truck, but depending on what he knows that we don't as far as the Big Ten problems, he may be gone. I think, maybe the Chicago coach did enough to save his job, but I think a guy like Harbaugh may be able to develop a guy like the quarterback for the Bears. Give me a name.
Justin
Fields. Obviously, the target-rich coaching destination is San Diego, because that's the least rebuild. They've got quality players on both sides of the ball with a quality quarterback. Titanville, that's going to be a restructure. They got rid of their coach, former OSU guy.
Yeah, that actually surprised me.
It did and it didn't. I'm all about this, Bob. No matter what your craft is. And I used to hear it when I was in sales. Having your own business. I'm always a man of continuous improvement. And I just didn't see that with the Falcons. I just did not see it
I don't know if that's
Titans.
I don't know if that, and for the Titans, I don't know if that's a Vrabel fault. I think that's a personnel fault. And he's not in the front office.
He had some play, granted Derrick Henry's on the backside of his career, but he had a quarterback that just didn't seem to develop. Both his quarterbacks he put in that just didn't seem to develop. He had the wide receiver personnel. He had a decent defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at some point you got to say, you know what? Now we'll find out, because I don't see the Titans going anywhere fast anytime soon.
Yeah.
And if they regress, I don't know, did the Bears guy do enough to save his job even with that Green Bay debacle? And Harbaugh being a former Bear, do you think there's some backdoor talk about come see us and we'll get rid of the guy we got now?
That there might, but I think I heard some speculation switching a team to the Patriots. The whole idea of the speculation of get rid of, or, let Bill Belichick go to greener pastures because then we bring in Mike Vrabel. And one of the pushbacks was, you don't make that decision as, okay, we're going to let Belichick go because we can get Vrabel. You make a decision, you make the respectful decision for Belichick based on Belichick. And I think the same thing for Eberflus in Chicago. You don't get rid of Eberflus because you're going to go after Harbaugh. You get rid of Eberflus because you want to get rid of Eberflus. That's the respectful thing.
It is a respectful thing, but at the end of the day, if you can get a coach you think is going to elevate your team, it's better to keep the old girlfriend you got before you find out if the new one really likes you or not.
Yeah, and if they're going to move on from Eberflus, they're going to need to do that before the draft and make a decision about what to do with Fields and whether you trade Fields and get Caleb Williams with your pick from the Panthers.
Personally, me, as a GM of the Bears, I exercise the 50-year-old Fields. I do think he has some upside. I just think he needs to be maybe the right coach to develop him. Look what happened with, let's talk about the Ravens. Let's talk about their quarterback situation last year. They brought in a guy who, they fired their OC, brought in the new guy.
Yeah.
They brought in the new guy who's obviously, he's adapted to what Lamar can do. He's adapted to what he can do. And I think Fields in the right environment.
And I think Lamar.
And he had no offensive line.
And I think Lamar has adapted himself as well.
True.
I think that's been a real good synergistic relationship. I think the Chicago Bears are absolutely horrible as an organization, so I don't trust them. But if you look at the pure economics of it, one, get rid of Justin Fields, trade Justin Fields, and get draft capital. I still have 2 picks in the first round, and I have the first round. Guess what the number 1 pick does for me for quarterback? I now get 5 years guaranteed of what that dude's salary is going to be. And I can do other things. Justin Fields is going to be coming up for something, not too soon.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, I don't think that this kid from USC is an upgrade over Justin Fields. Okay. I personally just, as a matter of fact, I see a poor man's version of Justin Fields in this kid. Now, personally, I would go out and get Marvin Harrison Jr. You've got another receiver to complement DJ Moore.
Okay.
Trade your first rounder for some massive draft capital. Okay. Keep Sweat, who they got in the trade, who's a great defensive player for you, and stack up on that offensive line. And then if you give him an O-line where he doesn't feel like he has to run for his life on every play, and you've got Marvin Harrison Jr. as another wideout to complement DJ Moore, and then you can't get the job done.
So are you thinking of trading away the number 1 pick?
Absolutely. Okay. Trade it away for some draft capital and see what happens.
Breaking news.
Can we talk about Duvall?
The who?
The Duvall fiasco with Wink Martindale and the New York Giants.
What?
The nightmare. Have you heard? That's breaking news.
What? I know. I haven't heard.
So I guess the Giants went in and, along with their coach Dayball, just kind of took Wink Martindale, who's their DC, took away his key component assistants and said, "Get out of here." Martindale said,
Martindale's gone.
"F you, I'm out of here."
Good for him.
He's got 1 year left.
The Giants suck The Giants suck. The Giants suck. I have no idea how they dominated the Eagles in the final game of the year, other than I don't know what the Eagles are playing for, other than respect. But I don't care about the Giants.
And then what about the Jaguars nightmare where their coach basically fired his whole staff?
Yeah, that happens every now and then. And right now, breaking news, Pete Carroll is now expected out at the Seahawks. That's me another coaching opportunity for someone. I think Bill Belichick is probably leaving New England and going someplace else.
I think they're talking, just having respectful conversations to let the media know that they've talked, that being Belichick and the owner Kraft. But Belichick's gone. Yeah, if I was a betting man, which I am, well, let's do our playoff picks. That's what the people want.
Yeah, people want. I don't know.
People want
a
the
lot
playoff
of stuff.
picks.
Okay, so we start the weekend off with the Browns at the Texans. Browns are favored by 2.5 on the road. So if you want the Texans, you're going to get 2.5 points. If you want the Browns, you got to give 2.5.
Well, here's the thing. I like the fact that the rookie Stroud's at home, not on the road. This team's definitely a different team when he's at quarterback. Can we agree to that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Singletary should take some pressure off of Stroud. Got to get him going early. Give me 70 yards from Singletary. Give me 300 patient passing yards and two TDs from Stroud. Make Flacco uncomfortable, which is for some reason hard to do. And I'll take the Browns plus the 2.5.
Okay, so you got the Browns.
I'm out.
No, hold. You're taking the Texans.
Texans.
You're taking the Texans.
The Texans at home. I'm just waiting for Flacco to have his 3-interception meltdown.
I don't think it's going to be this weekend. I'm going to take the Browns and lay the points. Browns have a great defense. And yeah, Stroud's having a great season, but this is a good playoff defense.
I know it is.
They're scary.
It is. They got some good veterans on offense with Odell Beckham.
Okay.
Flacco.
Then the night game on Saturday, which can only be viewed on Peacock. You can't see it anywhere else. You got to get the Peacock.
Does the NFL give a shit about their fans?
Yes, they do.
Do they really care?
They do, and this is part of a greater
fans with money.
This is part of a greater strategy. So anyway, Dolphins on the road to the Chiefs. Going to be a really, really cold game. You know what they're saying? It's going to be 2 degrees. Yeah. 2 degrees. If you like the Chiefs, you're going to have to lay 4.
Well, you know the Chiefs don't cover nothing. The only way the Dolphins survive this is if Tua throws a couple 60-yarders to Tyreek Hill and they manage to just do something extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs aren't the playoff Chiefs at home, unbeatable like they used to be. But given that environment, I did say, conspiracy, Chiefs may end up in the Super Bowl. So I think Taylor Swift puts them over the top with about 5 or 6 cameo shots. And having said that, the Taylor Swift factor takes effect. Give me the Chiefs -4 against a Dolphin team that just doesn't seem to know how to win in December, which means I don't see them winning in January.
I'm really concerned about the temperature for this Dolphins team. I do have faith in Tuanon and Miami, and actually give me the Dolphins. And one of the reasons is the Dolphins are my preseason pick for the Super Bowl.
I think we both had them, Dolphins, and we'll have to go back and check. I think we had Dolphins and 49ers.
I know I had the Dolphins and the 49ers. Okay, final AFC game. Steelers, who somehow got into the playoffs. Mike Tomlin, another winning season. On the road to the Bills.
So Tomlin obviously stays, correct?
Oh, yeah. You don't get rid of Tomlin unless Tomlin wants to go.
Remember the talk earlier in the year?
Yep. So Steelers are getting 10 points on the road at the Bills, and the Bills are scary. That was a win. That was a win, must win against the Dolphins, and they really got the job done.
The Bills kind of remind me of the Chiefs of yesteryear, where they start off hot, they kind of get in that lull, and now they're really firing on all cylinders at the right time. My question, Brother Bob, what did my Bengals do last year in the frozen, snowy tundra up in Bills land?
Yeah.
And can Najee Harris replicate Joe Mixon? Can that offensive line for the Steelers push the Bills around enough to, even if they don't win, cover a 10-point spread? Can Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, continue his magical little run?
What's your answer?
Can Kenny Pickens?
What's your answer?
What's the weather forecast?
Right now, they're
if you give me
saying
snow, I'm going to take.
It's 24, cloudy, no precip anticipated at this point.
At this point, no precip.
No precip.
And you've got your top defensive end, Watt, out.
Yep.
It's a lot of points.
A lot of points for a playoff game.
A lot of points. Give me the Bills to move on.
Okay, I'm taking the Bills too. I mean, I don't even need to go through all the angst
Progressions.
and all the angst and anxiety and.
You're not going through any progressions.
You went through.
Just straight through the.
Okay, first NFC game. Packers on the road at the Cowboys. Man, 4 weeks ago, we thought the Cowboys were dead to win the division, but the NFC East curse reared its ugly head, and we still haven't had a repeat NFC East winner for almost 20 years. The Cowboys are actually the 2 seed, so if they win this game, they get another home game, which is crazy. So anyway, Packers on the road at the Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 7.5.
Well, why in my mind of minds do I see in my crystal ball a 49er Dallas reunion down the road? I think that...
Because you like to see Cowboys fans' emotions just totally wrecked?
The Cowboys' run game has been terrible on defense. Their defensive run stoppage has been terrible. The Packers have to establish Aaron Jones, and if they do that, they have a fighting man's chance. I just think that it kind of sets up with the Cowboys being at home. You've got Love, has the ability to be very inconsistent. I think they'll stuff the box because they know the key to this game is stopping the Packer running game.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the Cowboys to win quite comfortably, 38-17 in this. Give me the Cowboys minus 7.5. My lock on this game is actually the over, which I think it'll go over.
Actually, right now, that over-under is at 50.5.
Yeah, I got it at 50.5. I think it opened up at 47.
Oh, my.
And people pounced on it like a hobo on a ham sandwich. But I still like the 50.5. But look out, Cowboy fans. If the Packers establish that run game, this could be a barn burner. But I think I really believe the Cowboys cover comfortably on this one.
Okay, I'm taking the Packers.
I think the Cowboys cover more comfortably than any of the other playoff games that we got going on.
I'm taking the Packers. I'm going to take the Packers.
And the line's what?
7.5. I'm going to take the Packers because I think it'll be funny. Actually, what I really think would be funny even more is the Cowboys win this game, lose the next week, and the Cowboys still have Mike McCarthy and that whole coaching staff next year because nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change.
McCarthy's got to win this game and at least the next one to even have a fighting man's chance of being on that roster next year.
I don't know, man. It's Jerry Jones.
Well, Jerry Jones is always going to... One thing about Jerry, he's a positive guy, man.
Oh, he's something.
I mean, he could put whipped cream on a pile of dung and sell it as a hot fudge sundae. What
Jerry Jones needs to do is go find a private island somewhere, hand over the reins of the front office to somebody who's actually competent.
Just not Epstein Island, right?
No.
Like your boy Bill Clinton?
Yeah. Yeah. Go poach John Lynch from the 49ers, but he'll never come. Okay. This is an interesting game. The Rams on the road to the Lions. Stafford going back to Detroit, the team that traded him away to go win a Super Bowl, and now he's coming back.
Wow.
Detroit's favored by 3.
This is the funnest game of the year, and I think this was the sellout game that they've already tickets sold out within 2 minutes. This is the one the NFL dreams of.
Mm-hmm.
This as far as a wild card matchup. I'm going to let you go first, Bob. What's the line again?
3 Detroit, Lions are giving 3. I think that the Detroit is very explosive at home. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, what Detroit does in the playoffs is determined more by where they're playing than who they're playing. They're playing at home. 3 points is not enough. It's not enough. It's Detroit for me.
So for me is, Detroit just does Detroit things when you really want to count on them to do un-Detroit things. I think Stafford coming back to the scene of the crime and saying, hey, I won a Super Bowl after I left. I'm going to come back in the building and take you out of playoff contention.
You're going to take the Rams?
I'm going to take the Rams +3.
So
very, very dangerous team. You got Puka Nacua. You got a young team that's hungry. Is Detroit the more talented team? Absolutely. It's going to be who wants it more. And I just think that edge that Stafford's I think Stafford's the edge. He knows the building. He wants to come back and hurt him. Mm-hmm. Give me the Rams +3.
Okay. So hold on a second. So what did you think of the end of the Cowboys-Lions game?
I thought it was a shit show. I thought that everything I've been talking about all year, this refereeing is a mess. They're pretty adamant about this guy checking in. Adamant to the point where I don't think you'd lie about it, as adamant as they were. But, if you want to do the cowboy conspiracy stuff, this one plays right into it.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was a conspiracy. I think my personal feeling is the Lions were a little too cutesy on getting the guy to report in as eligible. I think the Cowboys
but according to them, Bob, they said we were going to be cutesy before the game started.
I know they did, and they were really cutesy. But if you're the Cowboys, first of all, and you say we didn't know he was eligible, you look at the line. Decker, the number 70, can't be ineligible no matter what you think, and the guy 68 can. My comment though is if you're at Vegas and you're at a blackjack table and Dan Campbell sits next to you, get up and run away. He's the guy who's going to have 17 and hit and get a 2 and hit again and get an ace and then want to hit again.
He keeps on hitting when you shouldn't, and then when I draw the card, I bust. Yeah. I've sat next to Dan Campbell's plenty of times.
Yeah, that was just crazy.
But it may have caught, look at the team now they got. Because of that, they got a really hot Rams team coming in, which most people are saying this probably would be the team you wouldn't want to face of all the wild card teams, and Detroit has to face them.
Yeah, no, very true. Okay, final game. The Eagles, who have backed into the playoffs.
I don't know what they're doing. Wow, yeah.
The vibe out of that locker room is horrible.
Yep.
Everything out of that team is horrible. And they're going on the road to the Buccaneers, a team that just earned Baker Mayfield $1 million because they made the playoffs. They're kind of playing with house money. The Eagles are sliding. Eagles are still favored by 3 on the road. Who do you got?
I think the Eagles have enough offensive weapons, especially at the receiver position, that they can make some big plays. I mean, they are 1 year removed from the Super Bowl, albeit they don't have the talented defense that they had last year. And Baker Mayfield's streaky. You got to hope that Baker Mayfield took the $1 million and then shits the bed and throws 2 interceptions. The running game has gotten better, obviously, as the season's gone on. But having said all that, I'll take the Eagles and lay 3.
Okay, I'm going the other way. Buccaneers. Eagles have backed into this. They're not going to be able to get up. They've fallen down. They can't get up. They don't have their lifeline thing around their neck where they can call the attendant to get them up. They're done.
But I will say in their defense, they're trending backwards, which I don't like, but the teams they've played this year have been much tougher than the teams the Buccaneers have played. Look at the division they've gone through twice to barely make the playoffs.
Okay. Last 3 weeks for the Eagles. Barely beat the Giants at home, and they shouldn't have won that game. Lose to the Cardinals at home. Go on the road to MetLife, play the Giants, and not only lose, get embarrassed. I mean,
Bobby, you better quit talking or I may change my pick.
I fully expected the Eagles to right the ship and win the NFC East.
Yeah.
Those last 3 games, I called those 3 games cupcakes a month and a half ago. Cupcakes. And they went 1-2.
I know.
So,
well, flipping switches here. We've got our NFL picks covered, guys. My lock is the over in that Green Bay Dallas game, 50.5. That's these games are tough, but I do like the over in that game. Speaking of a player who may make a team better, flipping over to basketball since it is after Christmas, talk of bringing DeJounte Murray back to complement Wemby. I like it.
Right now in the middle of the season.
Well, we're playing for next year.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, no. Let's stay in the lottery. Let's stay in the lottery trajectory. We're not tanking. We're not losing games on purpose. We're not tanking. But we're gaining experience and trading players, and we're going to go into the draft.
But this isn't a tank. But when you can get a quality player who knows the system, who was an all-star under Pop and the Spurs system, I don't know if the price is right and we can move some contracts like McDermott, move Keldon Johnson, maybe give up one of our pick swaps to Atlanta. I say pull the trigger. He's 27 years old. He's a quality player. I'm interested to see what our other podcast friends, Jeff, what's their name of their show?
Jeff Vexler, The Unrestricted?
The Unrestricted. I'm curious to see what they'll have to say tomorrow on that. But I say pull the trigger. Tell him, Drew, to the Max Sports says, pull the trigger. If the deal's right, get it done.
Okay. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Wemby is certainly lighting up the highlight reel.
Oh, like, did you see the one where he threw the ball against the backboard?
Oh, yeah.
The rim?
Yeah, same game he did the whole around his back thing.
Yeah.
That was also the game that he blocked Giannis.
Yeah. I've seen this kid do things in 40 games that I've never seen in my entire life of watching NBA basketball.
Did you see the interview after the Bucks game with Giannis? Giannis is like, he's not 7'3".
Yeah,
he's much taller than that. He's not 7'3".
But having said that, Giannis is doing things.
No, Giannis is incredible. I mean, Giannis is a man.
Can you imagine in 3 or 4 years with the nutritional program when Wemby has that Giannis body? Giannis used to have a Wemby body.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's really, really cool.
Scary.
Okay.
And do you like the fact they're controlling minutes, or do you think it's a little overboard?
I think it's fine. We always worry about big men and legs. Not that I'm all that worried about Wemby. We don't need to put him at risk. We need to get him seasoned. We need to get him experience. He's still the leading scorer on the team, even with restricted minutes.
Crazy.
So,
well, one thing you folks don't have to worry about is restricting our minutes. We will be back next week with another pod, and we'll talk about all those playoff games. Until then, folks, have a great weekend. OH.
Go Niners.